From wherever you are, let's slowly start to bring ourselves momentarily onto all fours. If you feel like you want to come into some cat-cows, you could gently move just on your own, finding a little bit of that undulation in through your spine. And then working on whether it's a full range of motion or maybe your body needs a little bit less today. And in about 3 breaths, we're going to be setting up for a core activation technique where you're going to be lowering down onto the elbows like this. Elbows are right underneath the shoulders. Fingers are just out in front. You could clasp them in any way you feel comfortable. And then you're going to tuck the toes under and hover the kneecaps. So in the next couple of breaths, let's slowly start to set up. Now at any point in time, if this posture becomes too much, drop the knees down, extend the hips back for a few breaths, and then slowly bring yourself back where you're hovering the knees off of the ground by 1 inch. So timer has started now. Keep the eyes looking at the mat just between the elbows. Set the shoulder scapula down and back, keeping length in and around the neckline. And then just continue to breathe in and out of the nose here. Core is staying nice and engaged, keeping that tailbone tucked so you don't have a deep dip in the lumbar spine. And you're just breathing through whatever kind of sensations it is that's coming up for you today. Again, listen to your body at any point that you need to drop down to the knees. If this is becoming too much on the quadriceps, you're always welcome to step the feet back so the feet are at hips width in that forearm true plank pose. You're more than halfway through. Let's keep that core tight and just continue to breathe through whatever it is that's coming up. Okay, you're here for just a few more breaths. You're going to be stepping the feet back in that forearm plank pose. You've got the final 3 breaths here. We're going to explore a dolphin pose. If this is not there, you're going to come into a downward dog. So downward dog, reaching the hips up and back, or dolphin pose. From your forearms, you're simply reaching the hips up and back. So it's the same thing as downward dog, just down on the forearms. Now, if you have tight shoulders and you're like, oh my goodness, this is way too much, then please plant the palms down, shoulders width, and then extend the hips up. Okay? Everybody's going to be different. So just respect your body's boundaries. For those in dolphin pose, continue on working to straighten your spine, lengthening it out. And then again, you could keep the knees deeper bent. You're not worrying about the flexibility at the back of the legs on this particular one. We want to scaffold. Okay, things come in with time. And some days you may feel like you're back 2 steps, and that's okay. 2 more breaths in down dog. For those in dolphin pose, let's bring ourselves up on our palms and meet everybody else here. Shaking out the legs a little bit and the head. We're going to come into a sun salutation B, okay? Bending at the knees, look to the top of the mat. Walk or jump your feet. Feet are at hips width. Palms to the shins, inhale a flat back. Exhale, a forward fold. Inhale, stand up, squeezing the glutes at the top, taking the palms to prayer in front of the heart on an exhale. Bounce to the knees to begin. Inhale the arms up. Chair pose, exhale, kick the bum back, and sit in that invisible toddler's chair. So try to engage that belly so it's not falling over top of your thighs. That would put a lot of pressure onto your lower back, okay? So try to straighten out that back a little bit more. Taking the hips a little bit lower might actually help. If this is too much for your shoulders, your arms are reaching out to shoulder height, and then you're just finding a focus point out in front of you. First one's always the warmest as you start to warm up your body here. Taking 1 more breath in, forward fold on an exhale. Palms to the shins, flat back inhale. High plank pose. Let's walk the feet back. Take an inhale before you lower down halfway. Upward dog on an inhale, downward dog on an exhale. We're going to do that one more time with modifications. Inhale, high plank, knees, chest, chin, slowly lower. Upward dog, inhale, squeeze the glutes. You can always come halfway up. And then downward dog, exhale. So as we start to really warm up through the body, you can always come back into that modified set if the full version seems a little bit too much. Inhale the right leg up toward the ceiling. Warrior one. Foot steps forward, shin parallel to the top of the mat, grounding that back left heel, and then bringing yourself up. Reaching the arms overhead, guiding that right knee toward the pinky toe, slight squeeze to the left glute, and then take the eyes to look up at an angle. Taking an inhale here. Good, palms to the ground, high plank pose. You could take a couple breaths, scan your body, see what you need, and then cycle through your set before coming back into that downward dog for 2 breaths. Good, inhale your left leg up in space, stepping that foot forward. Warrior one. Back heel drops down. You're rooting down in order to rise up. Trekking that knee toward the pinky toe again. Finding that lengthening sensation, squeezing the back right glute, and then settle your shoulders in place. Continue for a few more breaths. Good, inhale to look up, palms to the ground, exhale, high plank pose, and then cycle it out. Good, 2 breaths in that downward dog. Just enjoy it for the stretch, for the lengthening. Shaking out that head a little bit. And then slowly start to bend the knees, look to the top of the mat, walk or jump your feet up, palms to the shins, flat back, inhale, forward fold, exhale. Chair pose, inhale, 2 breaths. We're going to slowly start to speed it up just to create heat in the body. Take a breath in, forward fold on an exhale. Flat back on an inhale, high plank. Take that breath in, get your alignment, and then go ahead, cycle. In and out of the nose, okay? Right leg up to the ceiling right away. Warrior one. Stepping that foot forward, 2 breaths. Keep the weight on to the outsteps of your feet. Softening through your toes. Inhale, lift and stretch up. Palms to the ground. High plank. And then cycle it out. Get that glute squeeze in that upward dog each time. Left leg up to the ceiling, inhale. Stepping that foot forward, exhale. Inhale, root down to rise. Take a few breaths here. Keep your body center, shoulders on top of the hips, and then go deeper into that lunge set. Taking an inhalation, exhale, palms to the ground. Go ahead, cycle it out. 2 count down dog. We're going to finish up here looking to the top of the mat. Walk or jump your feet up. Palms to the shin, flat back on an inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Chair pose for 5. Holding for 4. 3. 2. Stand up, squeeze the glutes at the top, palms to prayer. Exhale. Shoulders up to the earlobes, inhale. Out of the mouth. Do that again, shoulders up. Good, slowly step to the back of the mat. You're going to step the right foot into the middle of the mat now, and then take the palms onto the glutes, onto the buttocks. Fingers facing the mat. Start to hover the left foot off the ground, and then just start to introduce a slight pulse to that left leg. Keep your shoulders down, keep your chest up, your posture stays. Pulsing that leg in space for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Keep going. Try not to grip the jaw or the toes. Last pulse up and hold that highest pulse. Open up the arms to the side, keeping that focus point with your eyes. And just hold. Just hang out here. Do your best not to allow your left toes to touch the mat. Hug your left knee into the chest. Really pulling that kneecap as high as it can go toward the armpit area. Good, taking one more breath. And then releasing that left foot down. Palms to your lower back, eyes to the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, lean back, hips forward. Breathe into that stretch into the front of the body. And slowly bring yourself back up. Step to the back of your mat. 3 sun breaths. Bounce to the knees, arms up, inhale. Palms to prayer in front of the heart. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Good. 1 more time. Nice. Slowly start to step that left leg forward. Find your focus, palms on the glutes. Try to ensure those hips stay square to the top of the mat. Okay, you're relaxing your shoulders and then you're slowly starting to introduce that right leg lift with the pulse. Beautiful. We're going for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Hips are level. Try not to squeeze. Last one, holding the highest point. And again, just open up the arms to the side. Keep your mind focused on the task, on your breath, and on scanning your body. What is it that you feel in different areas? And as best as you can, hugging that right knee into the chest. Try not to allow the toes to touch the ground. Nice work. Lift that kneecap higher into the armpit area. And then as you release down, step to the back of your mat, palms to your lower back, eyes to the ceiling. Inhale, look up. Exhale, lean back and find a few breaths. Good. Just finishing up with some core in a unique way. Slowly come back. Inhale the arms up to the ceiling, hinging from the hips, forward fold. Palms to the shins, flat back, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Walk your palms to a high plank. Come into an upward dog, simply lower down the hips. High plank, hold, 2 breaths. And then you're going to walk your palms back to your feet. Palms to the shins, flat back. When you get there, inhale. Forward fold, relax your head all the way. Inhale, stand up, reach the arms overhead. We're going to do that 2 more times. Forward fold, exhale. Palms to the shins, flat back, inhale. High plank pose, exhale. Take a breath here or 2. Lower down the hips into that upward dog. High plank for 1 breath. Walk the palms to your feet. Palms to the shins, flat back. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Forward fold, exhale. Maybe pull the upper body toward the legs. Inhale, stand up, arms up. Forward fold, exhale. Palms to the shins, flat back, inhale. High plank, hold it. Upward dog, don't let those hips touch the ground. High plank, hold. Walk the palms to your feet. Flat back, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to rise. Stay standing, palms to prayer, exhale. Step to the middle of your mat. You guys could stay facing the top of your mat, but you're going to widen out your stance a little bit, and you're going to come down into a squat. Palms are coming into prayer in front of the heart, and then just take those elbows on the insides of the legs. Find length in through your spine, and then you can even close the eyes. And just breathing in and out of the nose. Now naturally, for those of you that are already hinging forward, if the heels don't touch the ground, that's fine, that's good. You can always take a pillow or some kind of support underneath the heels, and with time, the backs of the legs, the calves will lengthen and you'll be able to soften down. Maybe you're sitting on a couple of blocks, or maybe you even have your back up against the wall. Okay, so whatever look of the posture that you're in, that's fine, that's enough. As long as you're intentionally bringing yourself into the pose, your body will soften in time. Okay, so just a few more breaths here. Enjoying that lengthening sensation through your lower back. Good, taking one more breath. And when you open the eyes, you're going to just allow the hips to lower down. So move any props out of the way, extending both legs forward. Walk the flesh and the muscle back. And then just come into a few pulses. We're going to be releasing into a forward fold, specifically getting into your spinal column. That means that you are rounding. You're not straightening the back. One day the crown of the head will come to the knees, or maybe even the shins. So for 2 minutes, chin to the chest, curl forward, hinge forward, and close the eyes. You can always take those props underneath your belly, the forehead, anything at all. But you're just shifting your attention, creating distance from your thoughts, the emotions, observing them for what they are, but know that you are not them. So don't have that attachment, that identity around them. Just let them filter through. You're more than halfway through. Breathing in and out of the nose. And your final 2 breaths. Plant the palms on the ground. Roll up your spine vertebrae by vertebrae so your head comes up last. And when you get there, take 3 shoulder rolls, forward and up. Inhale. Out of the mouth, back and down. 2 more. Plant the palms behind you, coming into an inverted plank pose, reaching the hips up. If this is too much, you could always bend the knees and lift the hips so you have a little bit more grounding. Fingertips are facing toward the top of the mat. You're always welcome to skip this one if there's any pain. If you're comfortable, you could even drop the head back. 1 more breath. Chin to the chest, slowly start to lower down. Cross at the ankles, coming into a tabletop. And then finishing in that child's pose, forehead touches the mat, preparing for your next add-on.